What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we're talking about Fear the Walking Dead. This is Season 7, Episode 11, called Ofelia. We got a Daniel-centric episode, finally, and I'm a big fan of Daniel's. We'll get into my feelings on him as a character, but I just, overall, I like this episode. I think it's pretty good, and I've been critical of this show a lot lately, so I just want to say, I like this episode. There's definitely most of the issues I have are with storylines overall. But this episode in isolation, I think, is pretty strong, if that makes sense. So this continues the whole Daniel dementia storyline, and it kind of delves into that a little more. Now, just before we get into this episode in particular, the overarching storyline of giving Daniel this story arc, to me, the dementia storyline, you could give that to pretty much any character of a certain age, right? It's not something particular to Daniel, and I think Daniel is a character that has enough going on, and there's enough complexity in his morality, his past, things he's been through. I don't think you need to give him dementia to make him an interesting character and give him an interesting arc. So overall, I'm not really that fond of it, especially because I know that means that his end is near, right? I mean, they're not going to keep him around within this state for too long from a story standpoint, I don't think. But yeah, this is also like a Luciana episode, and just before we get into it as well, overall, she hasn't had a lot to do, and Daniel hasn't had a lot to do other than a dementia storyline since he got brought back into the show. Daniel had one of my favorite episodes of this entire series in season 3. He had kind of his own little movie about all the people he's killed, and it's one of the best episodes of this spin-off show, absolutely. One of the best episodes of Walking Dead overall. At least I had a really strong reaction to it. And Daniel, I think, is one of the there's only a few characters I would say are in the conversation of Fear the Walking Dead characters who compete with the best characters of the original show. They should be in that conversation of the best characters in the Walking Dead universe. Daniel's on that list for me. And there are not many Fear the Walking Dead characters on that list, So that's just my personal feelings on Daniel. But Luciana, since Nick has been lost, she hasn't really had a lot to do either. So I like this episode gave her something to do. This episode did make me hate her by the end, so we're gonna get into that. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So we start off with this kind of memory game that they're playing, trying to test Daniel's memories and stuff, and I like this scene. Part of me is like, do they really need all those lights on? Because aren't they just burning electricity? But I like the setup here and all of that. I just wish this card that he gets, it's a sailboat. This is what sets him off on his dementia journey for this episode. It gives him ideas that Ophelia's still alive and all that. I just wish that was a little bit more connected to the rest of the storyline, like if there's an actual thread there, like if it actually led him somewhere useful. So yeah, I mean, it does play in, but I don't know, I feel like there's a missed opportunity. We could have had something a little bit more connected. Like my first instinct was, oh, maybe he's seen that painting before and it's hanging up on a wall somewhere or something, and it would lead him to something. But nothing really happens with that. So, but that's okay. It's the inciting incident of the episode. It's just him getting this idea. So, but then we get, they're going up to get the guns and all of that. And then Daniel's searching for Ofelia. He thinks she's still alive. Again, like at this point in the episode, I'm kind of annoyed by it, but like by the end, I feel for Daniel, and like I can get into when they try to do the emotional stuff with Daniel, because I feel connected with the Daniel and Ofelia character. So I gotta say, like, that part works for me. But still with the masks in this episode, and they just take them off right away. They're wearing the masks for a second, and then they see Daniel doesn't have a mask, and then they take their masks off. If I was Wes, I'd be like, screw you guys, I'm keeping my mask on. Like, forget this. Like, why do we have these things? I'm sure these things are not easy to come by. You might as well use it. So I don't know. It's a continuing thing. Oh, just a side note. Alicia Denham Carey directed this episode. I think she did very good. I mean, some of the shot choices and the cinematography and everything is pretty dang good in this episode. So Shouts out to Alicia Debnam Carey for this. I don't know if I don't think she's directed anything before, but I think it's pretty cool that she was able to do it now. So we got them kidnapped by Wes's people. Now, for once, it's another contrivance. At first, it seems like, oh, they just happened to show up at the right time, like how they know that was going to be there. They were going to be there, and that kind of stuff has really been annoying me in the show. And for once, we have a legit reason. Arno says later Daniel was broadcasting on the radio, and he must have given him coordinates or something. They use the dementia as a plot device to make excuses for a lot of things to happen, which, it's kind of, it's a bit of a contrivance, but at least there's a reason why they were able to find them there at that point. I'm assuming Daniel gave them coordinates, so, or something. I mean, if he's just broadcasting, oh, we're going out of the sub. If they knew where the sub was, wouldn't they have already tried to go there or something, right? I don't know. It's a bit of a contrivance, but like I said, at least there's an actual reason. I was like happy about it, and I like Daniel being aggressive and dealing with the past, and like it feels like he's actually Daniel from the older seasons. He kind of got softened up, and they didn't really do much with him, like I said. So I like this duality of him being kind of brutal in this episode. I think it works. I'm happy to see it. I wish he was doing stuff like this all along. I'm honestly just happy to get a Daniel focused episode because, like I said, he's one of my favorite characters, and I haven't really been all that enthralled with what they've done with him since. Now, he's going to negotiate for what he thinks is Ofelia. He thinks she's on a ship here, and they're gonna break her out or whatever. He's gonna tell them where the guns are. And my thing with this is, like, they could have just had him, like, Wes is being threatened by the zombies here, and like they didn't have to do the whole dementia thing. They could have just had, oh, I need to negotiate with this guy to save Wes, because I don't know, he is definitely a guy that wants to keep his crew together at this point, but yeah, so I like this setup here with the cage. I don't know, it's a bit over the top, as with a lot of things on this show, but it kind of works for me, and I really like the way that they shoot it. They have cameras mounted on it, and with the swaying of the thing, it's a kind of a point of view thing with Wes. So I think Alicia Debnam Carey, I'm assuming it's a directing choice. It's a very good one, and I think it makes this episode stand out more. The fact that the camera work is a little bit more expressive in this one. So I just got to give it props for the camera angles and such. But I don't know how practical of a thing that really is. But it's fun. So. Arno, I don't know, he kind of feels pointless after this episode, to be honest, but just a kind of a temporary obstacle that is done with this in this episode. So in these scenes, I kind of like to see, I like these scenes between Daniel and Luciana, because it feels like the real Daniel's coming out. I really like when they hatch the plan to escape and all of that. That's a lot of fun, seeing Daniel at work again. It feels like him. And that's what I mean by, like, the real Daniel's brought out. And I like the subplot with Luciana wanting to be welcomed in the family. And at the beginning, he confuses her for Ofelia, which I felt like would come up again, given that he confused her for Ofelia at the beginning, but then he spends the rest of the episode looking for Ofelia. But wouldn't he at some point confuse her for the Ofelia he's looking for, right? I mean, there's that thing, but that, I'm trying to be logical about dementia, which is an illogical thing, so maybe that's not really the best route, so they hatch the plan to break out. They're gonna trick the guy to coming in, and it makes sense. They use the zombie situation. They're like, he's gonna turn if you don't do something about it. I feel like he might have done something else, like maybe, okay, if he's turned, like, oh, he doesn't have a gun, so you can't shoot him through the thing, but maybe he would, like, give him a weapon and be like, put him down or something, I don't know. So that's I don't know, but it works. It gets us to where we need the story to go, and I like that. And then Daniel takes things a step too far and kills the guy, which was like, wow. So he feels slighted, and the things he's done in the past, I mean, it's in tune with his character, and all that's, it's a bit far. And then we have this subplot where wants to find out something about his brother from the guy that Daniel killed. And this part of the episode, I do like, we have this conversation where he explains it. He's like, I need to know that Wes knew that I was there when he attacked Tank Town, because he needs to know that he says, I need to know that he deserved it. I feel like if I would tweak that a bit and say it's not that he deserved it, it's that it was me or him. It was a survival thing. It's like that's what would get me through something like that. It's not like, oh, he deserved it, morally speaking, because that's always going to fall apart when you think about who they used to be. You'd be like, that person that he used to be didn't deserve it. So that, I don't think that would get you out of that mental trap. But the him or me thing, the survival thing, like, that makes sense, so that's just a minor tweak. I do like that there's that side of the storyline too, with Wes, because again, we haven't had much with Wes. Like, I want to like the character, and we get some stuff in this episode that makes me like the character more. And I want to see more with him before he becomes, he still feels like the new guy, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where we're at this point, and I like they use this episode to give him a little bit more depth. Appreciate that. And I do like this scene with Arno, and he gets, of course, there's the old adage where if you hang a gun in the first act, you have to use it by the third act. So the gun of the cage being dropped in the zombies has to be used. It's got to be dropped. Arno's got to get bitten and all that. And it is brutal. And it was especially brutal. And I like to see Daniel being brutal because it's true to his character. It's who he used to be and all of that. So again, like, I like that part of the episode. I don't know that I like that it's like over something that is not real. But, I do wish it was like a real thing. Part of me wishes Ofelia didn't die because it was, I don't know. I guess it makes sense, but I was sad to see her go, But yeah, so we get this final scene where I don't know that he would be conscious at this point in real life with these kind of injuries, but he's explaining the crater thing. There's zombies in the crater. It's a horde that's coming, and he says we need to live in the tower because there's a horde coming and people are letting them out. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to tie in with Padre or something. But I don't know what that would achieve. But my instinct, if there's a horde on the way, would be, okay, we should just get out of here. Forget the tower. The tower is like, I guess the tower would be a good place to hold out while the horde passes through. But, I don't know that you could just hightail it out of there, right? I mean, maybe they'll have enough cars and they wouldn't get far enough on foot. I don't know. But, so that's the reason, and that's why they're saying the tower, they're trying to add this in so that the tower's more valuable, because I've been saying, like, what's so special about the tower? They have no masks, like, anywhere at this point. It doesn't seem like it's as unsafe as it was before, radiation-wise, so, like, why do they need the tower? Why can't they just leave and go elsewhere, greener pastures and all that? And they're trying to make this horde thing into that. And, I'm not sure it works for me, but it's better than nothing. So I appreciate that. But, like, the mask thing, it's a pet peeve at this point. But I do like this scene, and, just seeing Daniel being his old self again. Even though, like, the dementia thing, but he's still acting like his old self. My one point is there's all these people here. As soon as, like, before Arno was even dropped in and got bitten and was screaming and stuff, I feel like people would have heard and been running out. There's all these people here within earshot of a man screaming his life away. They would have come up and honestly, they would have attacked the people who killed their leader. There is no way that they would be able to convince them through one inspirational speech. Oh yeah, we murdered your leader, but you should follow us now. Like, isn't that the whole reason why they weren't going with Alicia? And they still, like, have a positive thing on about Teddy. They're like, oh, Teddy would have wanted us to do this. And it's like, Teddy wanted all of you dead. Teddy wanted everybody dead. Literally everybody dead, like all of humanity, except for him and Alicia was his plan. or at least in this area. So I don't understand the reverence for Teddy at this point, but it's kind of annoying. You'd think that would be what convinced them if somebody knew that it was his plan, or it wasn't Teddy. It was it was Alicia, and who was the other girl was gonna be? I forget, the girl who murdered John Dory. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's the one thing with this. It's like, what? How are you possibly gonna convince? Like, how they should have, all of them. There's enough of them. They could have ganged up on the three of them, and it's like, yeah, we could go with you to fight the tower, or we could just murder you and then fight the tower on our own. And that's the thing, when they bring them into the sub at the end and there are the guns there, these guys could pick up the guns. One of them could come up, pick up the guns, be like, hey, you guys killed Teddy, and like, you're not our friends, so fuck you guys. And I don't know why they wouldn't do that, like, logically speaking, given that they were part of a death cult. So I don't know that I buy into this whole convincing them thing. But that's okay, and but it really makes Arno just this temporary thing for these 3 episodes, and now he's out of the picture, and we're back where we would have been without that, except Alicia's on the outs. Although, why wouldn't they still have this beef with Alicia, right? Like, oh, she got a bunch of people killed, but they know that these people, do they know? Maybe they don't know, but do they know that these people are with Alicia and have positive feelings towards Alicia, would be on her side? And so wouldn't they still have that beef? Like, wouldn't they by proxy have an issue with these folks for associating with her? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but let me know what you guys think. But yeah, and then we get the twist in this, and you get to see the light bulbs click on with Alicia, or Luciana rather, where she realizes that she can lie to Daniel, because he's like, my focus is my daughter. Like, when I'm thinking about saving my daughter, then I'm focused. And she's trying to convince him to help them with the tower. I don't know what Daniel does have special skills. I don't know why she feels like they add this in with the horde in the crater so that Luciana feels like she has to convince him to help with this. Like, there's no other option. And I don't know. To me, it's like, she wanted to be family so bad, but this is not what you do for family, right? So this episode made me dislike Luciana. So this episode made me dislike her because she decides to lie to Daniel. Wes sees this happen and he decides, I'm out. I actually really like that. It makes me like his character a lot, that he does this. But Luciana does the worst thing, I think, and lies to him and tells Daniel that Ofelia is alive and Strand has her in the tower. So I can see what they're trying to get. They're trying to make it feel like a desperate situation. This is the only way out, and Luciana feels like she has to do that for the greater good, or maybe selfishly for her own survival. I'm not really sure what her motivations are at this point. But yeah, I mean, after spending the whole episode trying to be family with Daniel and trying to do right by Daniel, she does this, which I feel is like exploitation and just like not what you do for a family member that you love, So it makes me dislike her, and I think that's the intention, or at least you're supposed to feel conflicted about it. So I find this interesting, but Luciana is dead to me at this point. I liked her before, even though she didn't really do a whole lot. I had no issue with her before. She's always trying to do the right thing. So seeing this is like, it's heartbreaking. So in terms of the drama of the scene, it's fantastic. In terms of Ofelia as a character, I don't like her anymore, but I feel like that's the intention. So that's why I say in isolation, this drama is great, and it makes for an interesting episode, surprising moment, a plot twist I didn't see coming. So I like that. Of course, after it happened, I see all the seeds leading up to it, and it seems obvious, but yeah, and then Wes leaves, and I like him for that. Now, the decision he makes, I don't quite understand. He's like, he wants to leave because she did the wrong thing, and he's like, you are no better than the other people, and I like that, but I feel like his mindset should be like, I don't want to die in this war. Why do I care about this war? It's not my beef. It's not my issue, and I would have liked that, but he decides to go with strands people at the end, which is like it would have made more sense to me. I mean, maybe he just doesn't know anywhere else to go, and he's just like, I need somewhere with food that can provide for me. So, I can understand it from that point of view. But yeah, I was just like, I would have thought he would be like, I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm just out of here. That's what I would have guessed, and we got that. We already talked about that scene in the sub, and that's the end of the episode. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But I think it's a pretty good episode. I have those issues with it that I mentioned, but most of the issues with it are with the season overall, not necessarily this particular episode. I think the drama is good in this episode. It's compelling, it's interesting, and I as much as I like the Daniel character, I didn't really care for this direction of him. This episode in isolation is really, really strong. So pretty good episode. Definitely the best this season, I would say. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video. We got Better Call Saul review coming up tomorrow night. So definitely keep it locked on Shook Earth Media. Hit the subscribe button for more Walking Dead content. Hit the like if you like, and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.